Day 2 comment says, Leanne says, I love it. This challenge looks so fun. I'll check it out. And she did, and she's doing it, and I love to watch Leanne create. She does a beautiful, beautiful job. Leanne is Be Creative 2, BECRE 8, IVE 2 on YouTube. Go check her out. Phoebe says, very cool. I love her. Thank you, Phoebe. Kriya Boutique says, that looks so pretty. I need to look for day 1 now. Looking forward to 28 to come. I actually responded to this. Thank you, Renji. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correct. If I'm not, well, you know who I mean. Victor Crafter says, I have no words. It's really beautiful. Thank you, Victor. I actually responded to day 2 comments, so I'm just going to go through these real fast. Chichita says, I love antiques, and this painting of your little doll is amazing. I was just waiting for her to hop off and start strutting around. Wouldn't that be fun? Little holographic action there. I sketched a little bird on a cedar branch last night. All right, but I didn't have time to paint it. So tonight I'm going to try to get it done. Say a prayer. I think I can. I think I can. No stress. I'm finding it very relaxing to do these at the end of my day. Cool. Very cool. Carol M. says, you do beautiful and detailed work. I love your shadows. Thank you, Carol. I love your little half-doll paintings. That's what Karen says. Thank you, Karen. Mary Ann McMillan says, what a cutie. I love her cocky expression on her face. This is day 2, and she's another half doll, only I did just the doll portion, and she's sitting there like this. Like, don't mess with me. Like, I'm the mommy here. Oh, really? Don't you say? That's what Mary Ann says. I think she turned out wonderfully, Mary. I'm glad you did do this challenge. Dear heart, where do you find the time? My first reaction was you always have time for the things you want to do. And that's true in a way. But sometimes you don't have enough time to do all the things that you want to do. The best thing I can say about time is just figure out what you want to do and do it. Of course, you know, there's planning and there's all this other, but don't, sometimes we hem and haw too much. Just go do it. Mary W. says, she sure has a spunky personality the way you drew her. Boy, I'll bet she could tell us some stories. I'll bet she could too. Mary W., I live for your comments, lady. I just enjoy you so much. She says, does she have a name? I haven't named her yet, but in my comment, I thought I should call her Mrs. Spunky. Ms. Spunky. Karen, it's Mommy says, how cute is that? You're amazing. Thank you, Karen. Studio Silver Creek, which is Leanne again. This is Leanne's other channel, says, oh, she just shared it. And I put, thank you for the share. Thank you when you share on Google+. Now, I noticed that several of you share. I know Victor does, Kelly Black does, Leanne does. And sometimes these go right to my YouTube page and I can see you share. But then other times when I'm looking at my creator studio, I'll see a whole bunch of spam. And I'm looking at that spam and all my shares are in the spam. And I can't get them out of there. I'm going to have to go to YouTube help and say how, I approve it. Doesn't do a thing. It just comes back. And I tried to delete some of them. Sorry, they weren't being approved. And I don't want to block them. That's the other option. But they won't delete either. I don't know what's going on with that, but I got Leanne's out there. MSK Craft says she's beautiful. She has spunk. Lynn says, a good idea to grab one of your little doll statues and to paint it. It turned out nice. Thank you. I said Leanne. I think that's Lynn's art. Callie Black is another one who did a share. And I said, thank you for the share, Callie. I do appreciate those shares. Angie Lupus Life says, lovely. Thank you, Angie. CJ MZ Scarlet 12345 says, oh, that dog turned out cute. I'm on my second one also. Now she's on her, 14th or 15th one, CJ? Where are you at now? Carolyn Coca says, another beauty. I think I like this one best. You do wonderful art. Thank you guys all for those beautiful comments. Day three was, what did I do for day 3? Oh, I did that perfume bottle. And can you believe, I don't understand, well, we don't want to get off on that. I got a thumbs down on my perfume bottle. I think there's just somebody who doesn't like to smell nice out there. They'd rather stink up the world in other ways. Let's petition YouTube to get rid of those thumbs downs. They're just no good. All right, we don't want to get off on that. Let's start with the good comments. Chachita Green, this is on the perfume bottle that I did on day 3. Oh my gosh, Mary, this is beautiful. I must have some of those blue gilding chips. I got mine at Joggles LLC. Got them when they were on sale when I got the Stuart Gill paints. I've never used them before. I did have to go back on my perfume bottle because I noticed when I was working with it that they started flicking off. And so I used my Weld Bond glue, which dries transparent, and gave them a good coat of that. The matte medium held them down for a time, but didn't grab onto them long term. And I put a coat of that Weld Bond glue over them, and it's holding them really nice now. Phoebe says, wow, that little bottle's so beautiful, and so is your painting. Thank you, Phoebe. Marianne McMillan says, what a find. My husband drooled over the bottle. He collects them. Microchips look stunning, and nobody can paint glass like you can. Well, there are a lot of people who can paint glass better than I can. I love this painting. Bonus, I noticed you are finally getting some colors on your drop paper. Let me tell you, drop papers are another one of my challenges. I did turn my drop paper over finally. Finally, I said, this is taking too long to get messy. So I took my drop paper and I took some of those bottles of craft paint that are getting dry on me and Shannon Green would love me. I just started squirting it all over that drop paper and messing it all up, and I dried it and stamped on it, and I've got one side of a drop paper done, and I flipped it over, and now some of it's coming through on the opposite side, but now I have white drop paper again because I'm working off of that cardboard box. You know, if I have to fake my drop paper, I will, because I want a drop paper album. I want a drop paper journal. I guess I'll have to change it to painted papers. Victor says, beautiful. Thank you, Victor. Karen Salos says, a beautiful bottle and a beautiful painting. You sure did capture the sparkle. Thank you, Karen. Carol M. says, that's a gorgeous perfume bottle, and you did a fabulous job of capturing it. Those blue flakes really set it off. It really did, didn't it? I've never used those gilding chips before. I guess that really turned into a mixed media piece with the painting. It wasn't a pure painting. It wasn't pure paint. But, yeah, I'm going to have to use them more. Angie says, awesome. Thank you, Angie. Mary W. says, you did that beautiful bottle justice. I can see the great thick smooth glass, and that glass is smooth. I mean, it's probably a souvenir. I mean, you can probably buy them a dime a dozen over in Italy, but you can't here. I found it at a thrift store. Adding those flakes is such a good idea, and it's become a wonderful image, and it's right. It really says Mary did this. Yeah, you seem to know something that Mary did. Karen, it's Mommy says, loved it, Mary. Thank you, Karen. Kathy Rose Creations says, you captured this lovely bottle completely. Thank you, Kathy. I had a laugh at Kathy. I was commenting on one of her videos, and she says, I don't get much done because I'm watching you. And I'm going, oh no, I need to go watch her more. She always leaves very encouraging comments on my videos. Thank you, Kathy. Ella Connor says, very pretty. Thank you. Lucia McGill says, love it as always. Thank you, Lucia. Angela Velasquez. I think, Angela, are you from Puerto Rico, I believe? Are you from Puerto Rico, living in the States now? I think that's what somehow I picked that up about you. But thank you, Angela. Thank you for visiting. I really appreciate that. Visiting my channel. Create Art One says, beautiful perfume bottle and beautiful painting. Thank you so much. Then on day 4, I I did the first 3 in portrait mode, and now the next 3 I'm going to do in landscape mode. And I started out doing this little Dutch shoe that belonged to my mother, and it's filled with dice. You know, and it's a little thing. I don't have a lot of furniture and heavy things. That's why you see, that belong to my family. That's why you see a lot of little things like this Dutch shoe, because I can carry it. But, I think I have a cabinet that belonged to my grandmother, but it's one of those long kind of pie case cabinets, and I can lift it. So I have it, but I don't have a lot of heavy furniture, so that's why you see a lot of the knicky-knacky stuffs. It's Mommy. Karen says, it's comforting to have an old piece of jewelry and an object that belonged to our mothers. True. They bring back so many memories. And if you can pass them down to your family, like I don't have children, but I do have a couple of grandnieces, and maybe sometime 50 years in the future, one of them will see this, and somehow maybe some of these little objects will get to them and they'll value it as much as me. I don't know. Thank you, Karen. Phoebe says, very meaningful and wonderful piece. I'm enjoying hearing about the things you're choosing to paint. Everything has a story, Phoebe, and I love your stories. I love your walks. I love to watch you walk. I loved your park videos. Phoebe notices so many things with her camera. Phoebe paints with her camera. And she does a lot of creative art, too. Believe me. Victor says, wonderful. Thank you, Victor. Karen Sallow says, how adorable is that? A nice way to connect with your mother as well. So true. So true. You're going to start me crying. I miss my mother a lot. My mother, well, I told you about the time. Maybe you missed that, but she was helped me do my first urban sketch. If you want to know that story, ask me about it. But yeah, if my mother were here, we would be out garage sailing, let me tell you. She loved to do garage sales. She loved to go to flea markets. She loved to find bargains, and I miss her. Mary W. says, this is a wonderful little piece of history. I love the shape of that shoe also. There are so many different kinds of dice. Did your mother collect them, or did she play games with them? I love how you painted it. My mother collected them. Now, we would play Monopoly, and that's really, what was the other one? Mr. Wiggles or something like that. I can't remember the other one. But Slapjack, we would play Slapjack when we were kids. But Monopoly, we had dice for the Monopoly, and that's the one game that I remember that we used dice for. But other than that, she just collected them. Fun, cheap collections. Makes life a joy, doesn't it? Al John, which is Amy, says, hello, Mary, what a precious memory. I love dice, too. I collect them and have jars full of dice. I don't even know why. Fond of memories, I guess. I love the way your painting turned out. And I responded to her. I did respond to some of these, so it's, yay, yay, Mary. But I have an idea that Amy collects her dice the same way I collect my scissors. And you just like the look of them. You like them. You love the look of a jar full of dice. The light reflects off of them. You know, dice are six-sided, and you put a whole jar full of them. You've got a lot of six-sided cubes in there. You can shake them up, and yeah, I'm the same way, Amy. Lynn's Art says, I was wondering if you were going to manage to paint the dice inside, and of course you did. With this little shoe belonged to your mother, it makes the painting extra special. But you know, after I finished that painting, the white dots on the bright red were black. I go, what's the matter with this painting? And then I realized that I needed to put white dots on my red dice. And I did that, I think, before I showed the video. Lucia McGill says, what a cute treasure. It is. Thank you, Lucia. Marianne McMillan says, such sweet memories, beautiful mother. I cannot get enough of the stories about her. My mother loved telling stories, too. I think I inherited that talent from her. Yes, yes. You'll probably hear a lot more about my mother before I'm done with this channel, Mary. Sahila says, how cute, Mary. I love both the shoe and the painting. How wonderful it is to have these little trinkets that make us think of others. I bought my grandparents' house and I still have several things around. Oh my goodness. I wish that I could have known my grandparents more. I do know them, my dad's mother and my mother's mother. I do know them, and I did know them sort of when I was younger. But I would love to know my grandparents today. Just think of the stories that they could tell. On my dad's side, now this is a family story passed down through the family, and how much truth there is to this legend. There are some legends in my family, but I think there is probably a certain element of truth to it. There's some Cherokee Indian blood on my dad's side, the story goes. And down in, Florida and Georgia, I believe, they had the Trail of Tears, where they were moving the Indian tribes from that southeastern part of the United States to Oklahoma. My dad grew up in Oklahoma. And the way the story goes is that my grandmother walked the Trail of Tears. I would love to know more about that. Now, my Indian blood is probably 1/64th of a 64th or something like that. But I would love to be able to visit with them and hear both the sorrow and the joys and the little daily things that they saw in their life, and even the beauty that they noticed in their life. Sue, you got me talking about my grandparents. I'd just love to know my grandparents better, and if you to be able to own their house and to own things owned by them. I do have my grandmother on my grandmother's side. I told you I have that long pie cabinet. I love it. Claudia Rossi would be happy with me. A couple years ago, I painted that pie cabinet a pink color. I'm not even a pink person. I think I meant it to be a dark maroon, and of course, the guy at the store didn't mix it right, and it turned out a bright pink, and I left it that way. I'm going to have to strip that down and repaint it. Maybe. Okay, what am I on? Carol M. says, a wonderful way to remember your mom. Thank you, Carol. Rosa at Inspired Soul says, wonderful. Thank you.